Yes, gentlemen, I'm back. Yeah, quick phone call. Back. It's I'm leaving about 15 minutes to go watch the World Cup. For those who don't know, I'm a huge, major rugby fan. You know, and today is the final World Cup in France, in Paris. The two best teams historically in this sport, the All Blacks against the Springboks. Okay, I should have said the Springboks against the All Blacks because I'm a major Springbok fan. Yeah, that's why I'm wearing my only green shirt I could find today. The All Blacks is the team for New Zealand, and the Springboks is the team for South Africa, our neighbors to the south. I mean, those boys, they love that game. It's like a national sport. They love it to the extent that they always want to be the best. And it's such a huge thing that it affects the whole country. They say it brings the country together. Meaning what? Meaning the sport alone is a cultural icon. So a lot of these things affect the way we relate to each other. Can you imagine? So your national rugby team, are winners. The same way for us Kenyans, we have athletes. Our athletes are winners. From Kipchoge Keino to Eliud Kipchoge and all these others, Henry Rono, Moses Tanui, great people. But their excellence is infectious. Their excellence, rubs off onto us, even if, majority of Kenyans, maybe they can't run even half as fast as these athletes. But we Kenyans generally are known for producing athletes. 50, 60 years now, constantly. Only the Ethiopians are the ones who are trying to dethrone us, but they still have a ways to catch up. So, indirectly, we can say we have a culture of producing, athletes, and when they win, we feel good. Because we have that emotional, cultural attachment. Same thing with rugby in New Zealand. I mean, that's the only thing they excel in. And now in South Africa, because they're having a lot of issues. Can you imagine? Post-1991, when Mandela was released, some people could arguably say that, South Africa was like a borderline first world country, the only first world country in Africa. 20 years later, 30 years later, Kenya might even be better in some instances. Yeah. So, but because they have a culture, they can't get along. Now, this sport brings them together. So, what about us Kenyans? What brings us together? So, my opinion is very simple. We had a good, solid culture. I actually want to believe that our culture was good. It had been tried and tested for thousands of years. Especially for me, my ancestors, according to, anthropology and history, came from Egypt. Came down following the Nile. That's why, as a group, we're called Nilotes, people of the Nile. Along the way, we brought, monotheism. We worshipped one God. That God was actually a representation of the sun, Asis or Asista. That is our word for the sun, which is also sort of a god for the Egyptians. So there's that connection. I'm assuming also language, culture, circumcision. Some of the things I didn't know when I was looking at African culture was that only those communities that brushed shoulders with either the Israelites, because they were not called Jews then, Israelites in Egypt, and to some extent the Muslims, circumcised when it comes to men, even women. But south of Kenya, Tanzania, all the way to South Africa, they've never heard of that. They never knew what that was. It was not in their culture. But for us it was a big thing because that marked the transition between sort of childhood to adulthood. And I'll explain that later. But right now we're just trying to, come at it from, one step at a time. So how does culture provide solutions? Culture is the solution if the culture is positive, if the culture is based on sound premises. And that's why I say we had our own cultures. But right now we have a big problem. We haven't taught our children the values of our forefathers. So now we're picking up all these foreign cultures. And these people are very good at marketing. Hollywood, video, TV, news channels, CNN, BBC. So when they start coming with all these things which are, they oppose what our core beliefs were. And I'm glad that people like Yoweri Museveni and all that stood up and said, oh, no. There's some things we accept, but this one, no. Because when we have a bad culture, that culture leads to poverty and struggle and stress. But if we have a good culture, 3/4 of the problems that we have in Kenya will be gone. Like I said, there will always be issues and problems, but the basic things, how we relate to each other, how we feed ourselves, supplying the basics like housing and food, and also giving us something to look forward to, which my suggestion is sports. We can excel in sports. Can you imagine now, instead of New Zealand and South Africa, All Blacks and Springboks, we had Kenya there in the final of the World Cup. I mean, that's amazing. I mean, in my lifetime, I wish it happens. But we first have to make it there because of all the major sports that have World Cups in the world. Football, Harambee Stars have never made it there. Rugby, our Kenya team has never made it there. Cricket, yes, our team made it there. Not only they made it, but they went to the semi-finals. Kenya should be a powerhouse in cricket right now, but we're not. Because we didn't follow it up. And then we have Olympics every 4 years. Now, at least that one we shine, but most Olympic sports are individual related. We're not very good at team sports. We need to develop that. So yes, our leaders, not just political leaders, no, but even social leaders. Me and you, we're leaders. Say no to all these foreign forces trying to come in and tell us how to live, how to behave, how to relate to each other. No, we don't want. We have our own culture, which was strong, which taught us how to behave from day one. I remember when I was a small child, you were told to respect elders. When you're shaking the hand of an elder, you have to shake like this or like this. You have to use two hands. And you don't talk to elders unless you're spoken to. And elders can be anybody older than you, even 5 years or older. What are you telling them? They've been where you've been. You don't know what they're going through. You'll get there eventually. But while you're still there, respect your elders. When it comes to how we interrelate families are very important. Without families, now you look at all these first world countries, families are collapsing because they have a weird culture. And for me, it's, some people say, when I hear, in fact, I'm going to give examples. Right now, I'm just touching on it because this is just the beginning of my conversation with you about culture. But when you hear women on TV, and I have some examples, I'll bring them in, pole, quoting Western language, patriarchy, women are oppressed, even in our constitution, that women have to be 1/3 of the leaders in parliament, bunge. Why? The whole concept of democracy, the whole concept of, representative government is for people generally just to vote. So if you're a woman, look at Nakuru County right now. It's being run by women. The governor, the senator, majority of the leaders are women. Nakuru decided, let's try women out. If it works, it works. If it doesn't work, the next time they'll know, hapo. Tusiwahi hiyo tena. Is it the governor of Meru? It's a woman that's causing trouble. So some cultures can deal with women leading them, others can't. And these are subcultures within the Kenyan culture. So Kenya is culture here, counties is subculture, and then you go to microculture, families, all that. We have our own way of dealing between men, women, children, based on our traditions, that to me are more superior than the Western. And I'm railing against this because, like I said, right now I'm visiting here, the US, and the things I see, very scary. I don't want any of these cultural clashes here to infect Kenyans. I'm using the word infect because some of this stuff is just crazy. Rainbow, they have holidays for people who choose to be what we used to behave in a lewd type of, I don't know. I mean, really? What happened to these are the same people who brought us religion. They brought us all this they said, this is the good way to live. The Bible is the foundation, of a good life. And then in one lifetime, 2 generations, they've changed. All of a sudden, no, Bible is wrong. Love, you can love man love, man, boy love, woman. What's going on? You see, this conflicting message. To the point where they're sending their leaders or the women to come and tell our men, hey, you guys, there's something wrong with you. You want money from us? You better behave the way we say, otherwise, no money. And yet we have independence. Tuko na huru. But are we really independent? When the British flag came down and the Kenyan flag went up on that midnight, was it December 1963? Did we actually gain independence? I mean, we were just given, milk, but the cow doesn't belong to us. Think about it. Anyway, so yes, I have to go. The game starts in an hour and a half, but where I'm going to go watch it is half an hour away. So I have to jump in the car, start driving. I'll probably make a short video after the game because, go Boki. Yeah, yes, green. Green is gold. Yeah. Let's hope we win. Yeah, be strong, be blessed. We'll talk later. Bye.